There are a few things which I wish I knew when I first got into manifestation, because if I did know them at the beginning of my manifestation journey, I personally believe I would have been able to cut my manifestation process by at least half. But unluckily for me, I had to go through many trial and errors to get to where I am today. But luckily for you, I'm gonna give you everything that I wish I knew when I first started out, so you don't have to go through the exact same problems that I faced and you're able to manifest money much faster than I did. Now, the first thing I wish I knew is that I had to let go of expectations. I've talked about expectations in many of my past videos before, but the way I would outline expectation is that you would have to believe in a higher power to deliver on what you want, but you would have to let go on exactly how it happens. You see, most people, when they get into manifestation, they set a goal and then they try to expect everything to turn out the way they want it to. Now, the problem is, if you keep trying to have things turn out your way, best believe you will create nothing but suffering. Because manifestation isn't about controlling every aspect of your journey. It's about creating a goal and believing it's possible, doing your part, which is taking action, and leaving the outcome to a higher power, aka God. Because if you try to do the opposite and just try to control everything on your own, you're not creating your dream reality. You're just proving to the universe that you're so desperate that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get what you want. No, you have to let go of everything. You have to let go of how things unfold. You have to take action without expecting anything in return. You have to detach from the idea of, I need to control everything, because you don't have to control everything. If I knew that all I had to do is just select a goal, embody the goal as if it's already achieved, and take action as if I have already achieved what I want, but letting the outcome be fulfilled on its own, I would have been able to succeed much faster. And I tell you this because back in 2022, when I decided to leave a job that paid me quite well, I used to work in a sales job and I made good money from it. But in my mind, I'm like, I know I want to make more and I know I am capable of more. So why not leave the job and start my own business, which I did. I left the job and I went and started my first ever business, which was an agency where I help other businesses get clients. Now, for 6 months, I got 0 results. Every person that I jumped on a call with told me to get lost. Every person that I emailed didn't respond. Every person that I texted didn't really give me any good feedback. And that's what I got to experience every single day. For 6 months, morning, noon, and night, I would email people, I would call people, trying to close my first ever client, but I would never get any results. And by the end of the 6th month, I was down to my last $50 that I could spend on that business. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna spend my last $50, but this time, I don't care how it works out. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm just gonna do my part and leave the rest to God. And the last person I decided to email agreed to jump on a call with me. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna jump on a call with that person. There is a 50-50 chance that he's gonna say, no, I don't wanna work with you. But nonetheless, I did jump on the call with him. And on the call, I'm telling myself repeatedly that, listen, there's a very high chance that he doesn't say yes. So I'm not gonna really force anything. I'm just gonna act natural. I'm gonna do my part and hope for the best. And I kid you not, by the end of that call, when the guy asked me for my price, I told him my price and he said, let's do it. And I walk out of that call with $14,000. Now, most people would say he just got lucky. No, I didn't get lucky. What happened was I decided to detach and not be desperate and tell myself that, listen, if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm just gonna do my part and leave the outcome to God. And best believe I ended up getting what I wanted because I finally detached and I let go of expectations. Now, that's the first thing I wish I knew. The second thing is I wish I knew that I had to stay present at all times. Our minds are conditioned to either think of the past or be worried about the future. And the reason why we're hardwired that way is because of the circumstances we're put in. We have social media that tells us that we need to succeed very fast, and we have our memories that tell us you could have done things differently. Now, the problem is if we keep living in the past, we're not able to focus on taking the right action to build a good future. But if we also keep focused on the future, we don't leave room to think clearly. And I tell you this because I remember there would be times when I would stay up like for hours after midnight thinking about my future. Like, how can I get things done? How will this work out? My circumstances do not allow me to have things turn out my way. Is it even possible? Or is all of this just nothing but a dream? My mind began to doubt my capabilities to create. Every time I began to think about my future and I began to think about my past, I always created more suffering in my life. Because I talked about in my last video that there's something called a mental atmosphere, and a mental atmosphere is what creates your circumstances and events. And if I'm just thinking and always being reminded about the past and I'm just always worrying about the future, my mental atmosphere does not resonate with the kind of future I want to build. But here's what I learned. Every person can control how they direct their mind. If a person were just to sit down every single day for at least 10 minutes, do nothing but just observe their mind, observe their feelings, observe their breath, observe the room that they're in, observe their entire being, do nothing but observe, then they will eventually develop the habit to do nothing but focus on the now. Because when you're just here, you have the power to direct your mind to do what you want. Now, of course, it takes practice. Of course, you have to meditate every single day. Of course, you have to become an observer every single day. But trust me, the sooner you start, the faster your life gets better. Because at the end of the day, there's no such thing as the past and there's no such thing as the future. What truly exists is the now. And the mind only thinks that the past is true and the future is true, but it's not. It only believes that because it's conditioned to believe it's true, but it's not true. What truly exists is the now and only the now. And when you focus on the now, you'll feel peaceful, you'll feel calm, doubt will slowly dissipate, fear will not show up in your life, and slowly but surely things will start to unfold your way. Now that's the second thing that I wish I knew. The third thing is that it's not the manifestation technique that brings what you want into existence. One of the biggest reasons why people never manifest what they want is because they think that they still haven't figured out the right manifestation technique, which is completely false. You cannot go through your manifestation journey doing nothing but just using techniques and expecting to have things turn out your way. Because you could visualize, you could do the 3-6-9 technique, you can do whatever technique you come across and still not manifest anything. But why is that? It's not because the technique doesn't work. It's because you're not emotionally involved in these techniques. So stop worrying about the manifestation techniques and start conditioning your body to feel the emotions of the goal. Again, this goes back to being in the present moment. If you just stay present right here, right now, and you close your eyes and you begin to emotionalize the fact that you are successful, that you are worthy of success, that you are attracting lots of money, if you begin to emotionalize that, it becomes a part of your identity. And if it becomes a part of your identity, it becomes your emotional atmosphere. And as a result, you attract what you're embodying into existence. So again, stop visualizing, stop using techniques, and start emotionalizing. And that's the third thing I wish I knew. Now, the fourth thing is that you need to find the cause to every limiting belief that you have. I had someone from my last video, God bless her, comment, why do I feel my goals as if they are achieved? Why am I acting as if I have already achieved what I want, but I do not feel like taking action? Why does every time I take action feel forced or unnatural? The reason why it sometimes feels like you're not bothered to do anything is because you have a limiting belief in your mind that makes you think that you shouldn't take action or it's not even possible to achieve what you want. And I've talked about this in one of my videos before where I mentioned that it's not until you find the blocks in your subconscious mind that you begin to actually use the law of attraction to manifest money. So what I did was I replied to the comment on my last video mentioning that you have to do something where it requires for you to find the root cause. So let's say if you do not feel like taking action, ask yourself, why do I not feel like taking action? And then the answer might be, well, I'm lazy, or I don't feel it's possible. Whatever the answer is, some answer is gonna come up. And trust me, that is very important. It doesn't matter what kind of answer that comes up in your mind, it is important. And when that answer comes up, ask yourself, well, where did that belief come from? Like, is it from childhood, or is it because of something that I went through in life that now makes me believe that nothing can work out? Again, whatever answer that comes up is important, because when you get to the root cause of every limiting belief, now you know exactly what to replace it with. So in your case, it could be, I don't feel like it's possible. Okay, why do you not think it's possible? And you go back with your mind and you begin to question yourself, why do I feel this way? Why do I think this way? An answer will come up, will be like, my parents called me a failure when I was young, which was actually my case when I was a kid. I was the kind of kid who would always be compared to my cousins for not getting the same grade as them. I would always be the kind of kid whose father would tell him that, listen, you're not smart enough. And that gets rooted in your mind. So you could be the exact same case as me. And when you do find the answer and you do find the why to every limiting belief, you can now replace it with, I am capable of doing everything. I am worthy of achieving all that I want. I am smart enough to solve every single problem. I love working. Everything works out for me. Whatever the limiting belief that you have is, replace it with its complete opposite. Again, this requires inner work to heal your inner child. That's what people call healing your inner child, which is finding the limiting beliefs that you had growing up and the things that affected you in your life, and then begin to replace it. Because think of it as a tree. When you try to dig a tree out, you don't just pull a tree out of the ground. No, you dig around it until you find the roots. So from there, you can dig up the tree. The same thing works with your mind. If you do not feel like doing anything, it's because there's a limiting belief behind it. Because here's something you should know. Your soul has everything you need, from love to success to worthiness to happiness to abundance to whatever it is, your soul already has. There's nothing that you want that you don't already have. The problem is your mind gets in the way because it has limiting beliefs from childhood and from circumstances. And that stops the soul from expressing what it wants. So when you first dig up the roots from your mind, and you begin to completely replace them, you begin to see what you want being reflected in the outer world. So know this, manifesting money begins by letting go of expectations and just doing your part of creation, which is taking action and not worrying about the outcome. 2, being present in the now, because it's the only thing that truly exists. 3, it's not the manifestation technique that brings you what you want into existence. It's the emotionalization of the goal that brings what you want into existence. And 4, you have to identify exactly the root cause of every limiting belief, because when you have an idea of where your limiting belief comes from, you have power over it instead of it having power over you. So as a result, you can now replace it with what you want. I hope this video wasn't too complicating. If you have any questions, please comment them down below. I'm more than happy to answer all your questions, because I always say I only grow when I help you grow. And please feel free to leave a like, subscribe. You can go ahead and watch all my past videos, or even better, you can go ahead and book a call with me down below, and I'm more than happy to see how I can help you one-on-one to not just help you remove your limiting beliefs and help you change your inner world to reflect what you wish to attract in the outer world, but I also want to help you build the exact same business that I've used as a vessel to manifest money through it, where you get to help people and share your story in exchange for money. So if that sounds interesting, you can just go ahead and book a call with me down below, and I'm more than happy to see how I can help you. If you don't want to work with me, that's fine. You can just watch all my past videos, which I know will benefit you greatly.